Welcome back to the Admin Hub. So awesome you'll think it's a drug, but it's not. This session's on the Sales Workspace. Oh well, if you got
Hi everyone, I'm a product manager here at HubSpot, focused on the deals experience in the Sales Workspace and also on improving the Sales Workspace experience for admins like yourselves. So thank you all for joining. I'm excited to share a little bit into what's coming up in the deals experience, and then more importantly, hear from you all about what's working and what is still painful. So let me share my screen. Whoa, that looks crazy. So I'll start off just kind of briefly talking about what's next for deals in the Sales Workspace. So one of the top requests that we've heard from you all is more control over what reps see when they're reviewing deals. And so one feature that is actually in public beta right now that you can totally go and join and should after this, if you haven't already, is actually admin customization of the deal sidebar. And I can show you what that looks like. So when I refer to the deal sidebar, what I'm referring to is when I click on this deal name, I can see this 2-column layout of the sidebar that gives me more context into the deal. So we have like our AI deal intelligence cards here, and then a default set of CRM cards right here on the left-hand panel that the rep can actually drag and reorder. It's like that. And so you can scroll down and we have all of these CRM cards here. So we're bringing in a lot of information that you previously had to go all the way to the deal record to, but now bringing that information into the Sales Workspace. And the bonus is that if you are a super admin, you will see this little CTA to customize this sidebar for your team. So I can do that by clicking this default view and then getting rid of any of these cards, say like companies isn't relevant, or adding cards. So that is something you can now do with the sidebar, and it'll help cut down on information overload and make it easier for reps to take action. Another thing is bringing the Kanban style board into the Sales Workspace to help reps visualize their deals by stage, similar to what they're used to in the CRM board view. And so this will be in public beta in early July, but I can give you a little preview of what it looks like. The functionality is still being built, but there will now be this toggle here in the Deals tab for reps to switch between their table view and the board view of their deals. And you can move the cards around just like you'd be able to in the CRM. So that is super exciting, and keep your eyes peeled for early July. That will be in public beta. For these other two, don't have demos, unfortunately, but starting in September, both reps and admins will be able to create saved views across all of the objects in the Sales Workspace. So that includes deals, leads, target accounts, and tasks, so that they can jump into a personalized slice of work instantly. And as the admin, you will be able to set those up and lock them down, maintain control over what views show up for members of your sales teams, and help drive consistent workflows. And then lastly, we're improving the experience for associations in the deals tab of the Sales Workspace. We know that current associations experience feels very limiting, like you can't see all of your company's contacts in the deals table. So we're exploring better ways to support viewing and working across related objects right from the deal. So if you've run into pain here, I would love to hear specifics. So feel free to definitely drop them in the chat. And I know we just have a couple minutes left, so I actually have a couple of questions for you all. We are actively shaping our roadmap beyond what you just saw, and we'd love to hear your input. So here are a couple of questions I'm going to go through, and definitely feel free to respond in the chat or even unmute and share live if you'd like. And so this first one is, if you could wave a magic wand and fix one thing about how your reps manage deals in HubSpot, what would that be? I can't see the chat from where I'm at, but definitely.
That's fine. Yeah, I'm watching it.
Okay.
So yeah, drop your thoughts in the chat. Magic wand requests for the workspace.
Yeah, we'd love to hear them all. No request is too crazy. The next one is, what types of processes that can't be done? What types of processes are you doing today that can't be done entirely in the workspace or prevent reps from staying in the workspace? Like, are you finding yourself having to leave the workspace to do a lot of these really important, critical parts of your workflows? And if so, what are those? Then is, what do you wish that you had more control over in the deals experience? We've heard from a lot of admins that admins want to maintain control over what their reps see in this experience to standardize and lock down a lot of these parts of the sales processes. So would love to hear that. Then what's something that you've tried to set up or customize that felt harder than it should have been in the Sales Workspace? And then lastly, what's one feature you've seen in another tool that you wish HubSpot had for deal management?
So the chat is chatting. I'm seeing a few mentions of forecasting. Seems like that's a thing people, admins want in the workspace. Custom objects. I guess you can probably see this all now. I'm seeing a few things about duplicates. I see duplicate quotes. I see duplicate leads.
See deals or leads for all reps. Definitely heard that one.
Okay, it's there's a lot in the chat. I will export this out and share it with you later. Yeah, thanks everyone for sharing. Keep sharing.
Yeah, please do. If you feel strongly about any of these pieces of feedback that you're sharing related to deals, I am going to drop my email in the chat. So definitely feel free to send me an email, and then from there, I will send you my meeting link and we can set up a time to talk. So
everybody click that email real quick before it disappears. And it's gone.
Is it really?
It is there. You can scroll back up and see it. Great.
All right. Well, with that, I'll pass it to you, Ryan.
Perfect. Thank you, Sasha. Pleasure to meet everyone here. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Perfect. So I'm the PM for the guided action and execution team here at HubSpot. With that, essentially the user problems that we're trying to solve for is that sales reps are flooded with a lot of different signals today, and they don't know exactly what action to prioritize next. I feel like I've seen a lot of screens where people have 1,000 open tasks, but it's hard to figure out, like, how do I dissect that list? How do I figure out what's the right time to reach out to the right person? And then how do I easily take action on key signals at scale? So after hearing all those user problems, we developed this team to be able to surface relevant and dynamic recommendations to help sales teams prioritize these key sales activities and to seamlessly execute on them. So how that looks like in the product is there's two fronts. The very first part is on the summary page. You'll have this little area called guided actions. Think of these as HubSpot generated recommendations. And then the second part is when you surface these recommendations, how do you easily go about actioning on them? So that's also what my team is in charge of as well. And that's what you're seeing here on the right-hand screen. And then if we go into the demo of the product, so to kind of talk about this a little bit more, how we've theorized guided actions is, you typically have your tasks, you have your sequence activities. Think of this as your planned sales work every single day. And then right below that, here are other small nuggets that HubSpot is telling you about. So for example, I have a meeting coming up with Anika. It's telling me to prepare for that meeting. I have another one where I just talked to Garrett yesterday. It's telling me that I should probably follow via email. And then another one is saying that there's a couple contacts that are waiting my replies. I can easily click on reply to emails. So basically, we've broken it up between prospecting related recommendations and deal-based recommendations. And if I were to click on one of these recommendations, let's say reply to emails, you'll see this experience was meant to be very focused. You have the action that you're trying to do here in the middle, which is to reply back via email. I have all the context here on the right-hand side, so I can see my last email thread, a record summary, more information about this contact. But let's say this information I'm not able to find just quite yet. I can click on view record and I can see the full record as I would like to and look for those other small nuggets. But I can easily navigate back into this execution queue. If I didn't want to do an email, I had other options. I can go ahead and create a task. I can make a phone call and easily complete them through this experience. This new experience not just applies for guided actions, but it applies throughout your sales workspace experience, whether that's sequence activities or even if there's to-dos or emails listed up here. So that's kind of what's out today. And something else that we just came out with, it's being rolled out in, I think, an automated rollout, is our customization of guided actions. So feedback that we've heard is how do we enable greater flexibility of the types of guided actions that we see here? So if you click on settings as the HubSpot admin, you're brought into the Sales Workspace settings tab. And over here, you'll see the different categories of guided actions that we have listed. And you can easily turn off or turn on specific ones that you find that are not relevant. And you can also go ahead and edit maybe what the default action is, or also, the engagement of when this happens. So for example, this one is reaching out to engage prospects and accounts. Does this engagement happen in the last 3 days or 5 days? Admins now have the ability to kind of tailor fit this to your business process and your business needs. And that's kind of where we are with guided actions today. If I were to go back and share the screen, what's on the roadmap? So we're also theorizing ways to enable AI templates when it comes to these guided actions. So imagine like a draft email that you're able to customize powered through AI. That's upcoming in our roadmap. Another one is greater customization, like I talked about, of guided actions. We're also thinking about adding this power dialer functionality within your calling experience within the sales workspace. So I know there's a couple other platforms that offer this, and we want to take our own spin to help you guys execute on more calls. We're also thinking about other guided actions. So for example, integrating with our CPQ platform, integrating more of our deal platform, like with Sasha's team and things like target accounts. And then we're also improving our backend intelligence. I think I saw a couple comments that guided actions might not be fully, accurate. Like for example, you might get like a reply back to an email, but the email is just telling you that, hey, like this meeting time sounds great. So we're trying to improve our intelligence to determine like what types of recommendations are most relevant to everyone here. But yeah, that pretty much concludes my presentation. I love to kind of look at the chat to see what sort of open questions there are.
Look at the chat. There's quite a bit of hubbub around Power Dialer. Everybody's like, oh, wait, a what? They'd love to know more about what you mean and what it might look like and when.
Yeah, so the Power Dialer, maybe this is still supposed to be hidden beneath the wraps here, but essentially it's an easier way to navigate and actually make calls directly. So like, for example, we're thinking about like automatic voicemail drops. We're thinking about an ability to kind of call through a list of like 30 contacts, and then it'll automatically just call them one by one by one. So there's still a lot of like small specific features that we're thinking about, but on a high level, that's probably what I can talk about for now. And let's see, were there any other like central themes? I didn't get a chance to look at the chat as I was talking.
No, that's fine. A lot about the power type. When you showed the settings for guided actions, I myself didn't know that was a thing. So is that rolled out now? Is that coming soon? What's the state of that? And can you, this?
Yeah, so this was actually rolled out to like a select group of customers. We're slowly trying to ramp this up. I would say that everyone should get access to this maybe in the next month or so, but that's kind of the timeline right now.
Got it. And so this is a list of all the guided actions that currently exist, and you can edit them or turn them off. Someone asked, will it ever be possible to add new, like fully custom ones?
That's something that we're thinking about. We've gotten a couple request items. I'd also love to hear from the chat if there's like, oh, sorry, go for it, Kyle.
No, I was just saying, seems like that's slightly more complicated than just turning things on and off. What were you going to say?
Exactly, but if there are recommendations that people do want, like we'd love to take that in and see if we want to prioritize it as a default one for everyone to get access to.
Cool. Yeah, so friends, anyone who was looking at this and thinking, man, I wish I could add some for myself, just drop in the chat what guided actions you would add if you could. I think that'd be good. Cool. Anything else you want to ask or talk about, Ryan?
I feel like there's probably other feedback items, so I was just going to ask like general feedback, like Sasha, like for people that have used guided actions, what's been your feedback of it, like areas of improvement, and for those of you that are just seeing guided actions for the first time, do you feel like this makes sense as a part of your current workflow? Because I know a lot of people do work on it like records and like tasks. Does this feel like supplemental work that's valuable? Just like general feedback like that would be super helpful.
Cool. Yeah, everyone, if you could weigh in the chat if you're using guided actions, not using guided actions, what you think, what you like, what you don't like, what you'd like to see. Yeah, I think we can probably move on to you, Melissa, while that feedback is trickling in.
Cool. All right, let's do it. I'm going to show you all some meeting stuff in the Sales Workspace. And I recognize a few people in chat, so I think some of y'all are already kind enough to be beta testing for us, which is always amazing. Always appreciate that. But yeah, let's take a look at some of the things that we have going on right now. I'll walk you all through meetings in the workspace. I'll also talk about our new HubSpot meeting note taker, if anyone's curious on that. And yeah, we'll just see where questions lead us. So right here, I have a meeting prep screen. So from the Sales Workspace, you can click on an upcoming meeting. And really what we are hoping to do is try to give you like a one-stop shop to help you get ready for that upcoming conversation. So like you can log notes here. We have a couple of insights that are already put on the screen. So here's our talking points insight. And what it does is it looks through all of your previous conversations with any contacts in this meeting, and it identifies any potential pain points that might have come up in those conversations. And also like based on who you are, based on your domain, it tries to offer a little suggestion of how you might try to alleviate that pain point on the call. I have a bad example showing right here, but we also show recent activities. So if you wanted to just get like a quick recap of any recent engagements, whether they're like calls or emails or notes logged across all of these contacts or companies that you're talking to, you could see all those here as kind of just like a quick recap to see what happened before you go to chat with this person. So that's kind of like the meeting prep side of things. And oh, I can't miss this. If there is a deal associated to the meeting, you'll see the beautiful sidebar that Sasha just showed to you. So you can check that out. And then where it gets really cool, in my opinion, is if you are actually recording these conversations. So if you're recording your meetings, whether that be through Zoom or Meet or Teams or a phone call, you can come in here after the meeting and like you can play back the entire meeting if you wanted to. I'm sure if there's a lovely picture of me. You can see the full transcript, search for any, words or phrases. We're also generating a meeting summary for you. So if you just wanted like a quick recap of what happened in that conversation, we're giving you that along with identifying any key topics that came up during that. And then I think this is the thing that I'm most excited about that we have going on right now is these next steps that are extracted from conversations. So in this call, I think I had my partner on a call with me because he's planning like a train trip. So we were just kind of having a back and forth on like what his travel plans are. And I said that I would help him get his flights all situated, which is good for me because that means I can choose when I drive to the airport. But so I have a to-do to book his flight for him. You can see where I'm from. Eau Claire is my closest city to me in Wisconsin. So, but yeah, I think it does a good job of kind of identifying some of these details that came up in conversation so that when you get around to sending the follow-up email, for example, you can come into some of the experience that Ryan was just showing y'all and guided actions, and you can just send the follow-up email right from here, and you have a little bit of context to help you write that email to. So yeah, those are kind of some things that we have going on right now. And I guess let me go back to that meeting real quick and I can talk to y'all about a few more things. So let's talk about meeting note taker for a second, because that's another thing that I'm really excited about. Feel like a lot of note takers coming up. HubSpot has one too now. It's the HubSpot meeting note taker. And what I really like about the note taker is that it can join any of your meetings. So like Zoom, Google Meet, or Teams. It doesn't matter if you're the host of the meeting or if one of your customers is the host of the meeting. As long as that meeting is in HubSpot, the note taker can join. So like you could book it directly from your Google or Outlook calendar. As long as it syncs into HubSpot, like your note taker will be there. And it's really fun because with the note taker on the call, as soon as you click that end meeting button, like it's probably like a second, but this page will populate. So it's happening really, really fast, which is cool. I like that after a call, I don't have to wait around like waiting for like the transcript to process and like a third party to sync the information into HubSpot. It's just automatically there, which is super cool. But anyway, I feel like I've shared a lot now, so I'm definitely eager for some questions. And I guess I have some questions too.
Yeah, people are very curious about this note taker, how they get involved in it. Somewhere while you were talking, Hannah asked, how do I get into this beta? My question is, how many different betas is what you just showed, and how do people get involved in all the different parts?
Yeah, very good question. So all of these screens that you're seeing right here that I'm showing, this is a beta called Prepare, Review, and Follow Up on Your Meetings with AI Meeting Assistant, which is probably the longest name for a beta that you will ever see, but that is what it's called. It's in private beta right now, so there is a little bit of a wait list, but you know what, I'll drop my email in the thread, and anyone that's like super passionate about being in this beta right now, like I want your feedback, so send me an email if you're on that wait list, and I'll see if I can try to squeeze you in. Definitely eager for feedback. So that's one beta. And then the note taker is a separate beta called HubSpot Meeting Note Taker. That one we're keeping a little bit smaller right now just because we're testing new functionality and we're making a lot of changes as we go. So like right now we're actively working on some increased settings so that y'all can individually invite the note taker to select meetings or tell it not to join certain meetings. So we're trying to improve the recording settings to make sure that y'all are comfortable with everything that the note taker chooses to join. So yeah, that beta is a little bit smaller, also has a wait list. I'll say that one's a tiny bit more exclusive just because we're actively building and breaking things. So I'm trying not to mess up too many people's workflows, but same thing for that beta. If you're like really passionate about getting in there, send me an email, let's chat, and let's see if we can squeeze you in.
Cool. I do feel like some note takers out on the market today are very aggressive. I'll be like on a Zoom webinar and suddenly the chat just explodes with all the note takers like, I'm Otter AI, here I am taking notes for so-and-so, and announcing themselves. And it's kind of wild. People are begging for your email address, Melissa. So if you want to drop that into the chat, you will make some new friends today, I think, if you haven't already.
Let's do it. It is in the chat.
Great. And then you mentioned you had some questions you want to ask the group. So go right on ahead.
Yeah. So I definitely care a lot about the post-meeting experience, but also I think everyone else does too, which is amazing. So I'm getting a lot of feedback on kind of what y'all are hoping to get after a meeting in terms of maybe like better summaries, like maybe better like search functionality, asking questions about meetings, stuff like that. So like send those over to me for sure. But I feel like I have a really good understanding of what people want there. And really where my mind is at right now is that I want to build like the perfect prep experience. Like that's my dream, is like HubSpot has this beautiful page that you can come to, and you go there before every single meeting, and it always has exactly what you need it to have. And right now, like, I mean, I love it still, but it's just like a little bit generic. Like talking points, obviously it looks at all your conversations, like you have your recent activities, but I feel like there's so much more that we could be doing here. And we talk about customization a lot, but I guess really my big question is, if y'all were building your perfect like one screen for getting ready for a conversation, like what would you put on that screen? What is this missing? So that's my big question. And I feel like if anyone had some big thoughts there and a lot to share, I feel like this would be a perfect opportunity to not make me read the chat and let someone come speak to us.
Sure. Yeah, there is a lot of stuff getting dropped in the chat. I can't quite keep up with it. Joshua Oakes has volunteered.
I know Joshua.
In all caps. Okay. Well, Joshua, would you rather make a new friend? Hannah also volunteered.
I'll take anyone that you pick, Kyle.
All right. Well, I already found Joshua. Hannah, you're next up if we get a chance.
Hi, Joshua. How are you?
Good morning. I am doing well. Am I audible? Just
yes.
Yes,
yeah,
we hear you.
I'm coming from the perspective of helping clients get this kind of thing set up. And for meeting prep, I always advocate for extensive enough use of meeting types and playbooks. And so that means that going into a meeting, the meeting record between those two things, although we can't have direct association to a playbook, but those two things really describe for kind of regimented agenda meetings exactly what we want to accomplish and the data we want to collect and talking points. Our playbooks often have personalization tokens from like data collection previous meetings dropped in. So those, without the prep screen, the problem with using those for prep is just that they aren't kind of all surfaced in one interface. So if that prep screen had like, this is a meeting type discovery, here's the discovery type playbook, and those are either like one click accessible or surfaced right there, like the playbook is kind of like the in meeting view. If we could combine all of those, because those really are the historical infrastructure of how that kind of stuff gets described to HubSpot.
Yeah. Okay, so a couple questions on that, Joshua. Should we have a playbooks to meetings association? Like who all is missing that?
The challenge with playbook adoption is often that we have the like recommended enablement cards that are center column and right hand column on deals, for example. So if you coach reps, then they know to go find them, but there's not a clear connection to like I am in a deal or a contact view and I'm joining a meeting, like, oh, remember to open the playbook. Right. So I think if we could start pulling those together in that way, I don't know what that would look like exactly, but I think that would be huge, right? Like there is no meeting without an agenda. So why is the agenda either free form just in text in the description when we have built this awesome tool in playbooks to enable the reps to do it?
Yeah, I totally get you. So I also feel like you said this early when you first started chatting, but I want some thoughts from the chat too. It sounds like for you, your meeting prep experience will really change based on the type of meeting that you're going into, like whether it's a discovery or a demo, something like that. Is that the case, Joshua?
It is, and I work with a lot of clients in a niche industry that has a really regimented sales process, and the agendas are really tuned between these meetings, and they will have both like pre and post deliverables as well. So it's like, here's the workbook template that you are going to walk through on the call with the prospect, and then you send the template after the meeting and things like that. So there's in those processes, there's 5 to 7 calls, and are highly different, right? They have specific inputs and outcomes. So those playbooks are like tightly tuned to that.
Nice. That makes sense. So I guess question for the chat then, whether you're thinking about it from a playbooks perspective or whether you're thinking about it from like just meeting prep in general, does it feel like the preparation that you do before a meeting changes significantly based on the type of meeting that you're going into? I guess that's my question for the chat.
Great. Thanks, Joshua. We have an okay amount of time here, so I'm going to bring Hannah on too. Hannah, assuming you have things you want to say, I'm turning it on, whether you want it or not. But I think there she is. I think there's a really interesting idea there, Melissa, where there's almost like a templated experience. This is a discovery call, so this is going to be the description of the meeting invite we send out. Maybe here's a prep email we send out the day before. Here's the next steps afterward. That's pretty elegant, I think.
I think so too, or even just like the information that we choose to show you, like prior to a conversation. Like if this is your 8th call with this person, do you need a generic company overview, or like should we scratch that from your prep list? But yeah, hi Hannah.
Hi. Yeah, nice to chat with you all. So I guess my point is similar, but less to do with something as structured as that. We're not quite as mature in our process in terms of having all of those playbooks ready for reps to use. So for me, it would be about like, how can we surface those insights more easily? Something I use a lot now is like the Breeze AI summary at the top of the record. So being able to see, like, rather than having to scroll down all those notes, what happened in historically and what's the next step. So something like that in a really digestible way for reps to use. And then we've also been using the prospecting agent a little bit, which has done some kind of like background research for us. Now, we haven't really integrated that into the same workflow, but I'm thinking if you could do background research in terms of like, especially for early stage kind of introduction or discovery calls, what's been happening at that organization that I could leverage and reference. So maybe broader kind of research from the internet and pulling that in and making it digestible for people to be able to then leverage.
Yeah, I love that idea. So like doing some of that external research for you, that seems super beneficial.
Yeah, exactly. And I think of it more as discovery calls because I lead our SDR team, so that's always the sort of calls that they're on, and that's the sort of thing they're always going to have to do, right? Spend 15-20 minutes researching the company, what's happened in our own CRM, but then also just on Google and in the news and what's going on there, and how can I then make that into a kind of compelling hook.
Yeah, I love that. Something that I keep thinking about is like, I guess I'm trying to figure out if maybe eventually HubSpot will be at the point where for meeting prep, you're almost like writing your own prompt for what information you want for that meeting. And that's just me brainstorming. There are no like, immediate plans on that. So, but definitely something that I'm wondering if people are interested in.
Great. Well, thanks, Hannah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Hannah. But yeah, if anyone else has thoughts on like, more properties or like custom cards or just any kind of info that you'd want on your prep screen, drop it in the chat, and I'm super excited to read through these after.
Cool. With that, we'll go over to you, Isaac.
All right. You can hear me, right, Kyle?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Melissa. You have a lot of energy, so I'm trying to bring that up from my West Coast starting to wake up moment. But my name is Isaac. If we haven't met before, I am the PM for the Rep Experience team, which is really a catch-all term for owning the Sales Workspace as a whole. We also own different parts of the Sales Workspace. And really our goal is to make sure that we work with teams like Melissa, Ryan, and Sasha to figure out how to get adoption higher in the Sales Workspace. So we try to figure out like what the vision is, make sure all the teams are working together consistently and moving towards the same place. So today I'm actually going to show you a bunch of different things that we've either just recently shipped. I'll talk about what our next steps are for that, or just show you a little peek of like how we're making things a little better for our reps in the Sales Workspace. So I guess I could start with sharing a screen. I will start here. So you might have already seen announcements about this, but we've officially gone 100% GA with the Sales Workspace dashboard. So in its current state, what you will be able to do is admins will be able to add a single dashboard to the rep Sales Workspace. You can assign it to everyone, or you can assign it to teams. And now if you do that, you add a dashboard, and now everyone gets to see the dashboard in the Sales Workspace. Now, I already know, I don't have to look at the chat. I already know the first three things are going to come up, but I will tell you now. We are working on the V2 of this. The V2 will include things like admins can assign a dashboard to specific users or teams. You can add multiple dashboards, so a rep can see multiple dashboards and not just one individual dashboard. The rep can obviously navigate between multiple dashboards. So if they have like 5, they can click something, and there's a drop down that shows them which ones they can see. And one of the bigger ones is that the reps will see the dashboard filter to just them. So instead of seeing a dashboard that's showing every single person's data, they can see just like their data and be able to just focus on whatever they need to focus on. So those are some of the big things that we heard from the initial dashboard feature, and I can tell you we are working on that. A beta should be coming out in the next month or so, so look out for that to request to join. Any questions or thoughts about that before I move on to the next thing?
There's a couple questions in the chat, but I think you're going to keep getting those. You might consolidate them all together.
Okay. Yeah, just to clarify terminology, GA does mean general availability. So it means that it's not just people in beta, but every customer will have access to this feature as of last week. So that's where we're at with that. Okay, I will move on to the next thing, and then we can always come back to other things, which is something we have been in beta with for the last couple weeks, but today we started rolling this out to, again, general availability, which is the Sales Workspace Daily Digest. So now, if you are a user who is in a portal that's subscribed to this or that is enrolled in the beta and now rolling out slowly over the next week, you will get this really neat email every single morning. The email will contain all the meetings that you have that day. So you see here, I have 3 meetings and a link to go view it in the Sales Workspace. And it also includes your tasks due today. So not only can you see what you need to prep for, and I'll click through to show you where exactly it takes you, but you also see what you need to focus on. So, gives you kind of a sneak peek before you even open HubSpot in your browser or your phone to show you, okay, this is what my day might look like. But let's say like you're on your computer, you have this email pulled up, you want to prep for your next meeting. Clicking view will take you directly to that meeting assistant page or meeting prep page. And this gives you exactly what Melissa was showing, either this view or the upgraded view that she was demoing, and gives you all the different things that you can do to kind of prep for it. So again, takes you directly into where we hope you will find the most value out of prepping for that meeting. For tasks, so you have your calls, your emails, your to-dos. Let's say you're interested in going through all your to-dos really quickly to start your day. If you click view, it takes you directly into this queue, which lets you quickly get through all your to-dos. So you can see this is what Ryan was showing with all the things in guided execution. But now you can access it directly from the email, directly from that link. And you can, again, go through all of them really quickly. You can switch between different things. This is basically the same thing that you might see if you have the summary page as the first thing that you're looking at, and then you click to-dos, it takes you directly to here. So the Daily Digest is rolling out to everyone starting today. And then over the next week, it should be rolling out to everyone. And so by default, everyone who has access to the Sales Workspace will be getting this email, and then they can unsubscribe. But this is something that we hope will be of really good value to people who are trying to be more effective with their day. So signing up for Daily Digest, once your portal is ungated for it over the next week, you don't need to sign up for it. You will just be automatically subscribed. Any other questions that I've missed through the flurry of it?
People want
I'm
to sign up
finally
for
caught
the
up
Daily
now.
Digest. really bad.
How do you turn on the daily digest?
So over the next week, we're just ungating it for more portals. So up to this point, it was a public beta, but over the next 7 days, portals will be automatically enabled for it. And once they're enabled, any user who has access to Sales Workspace, so basically like Sales Pro Plus users, will be automatically subscribed. So let's say like today, your portal has it. If you have meetings tomorrow and you have to-dos, toodles due today or due tomorrow, and then the next morning you will get that email directly in your inbox. So for what I think what will happen is that people will be delighted to see an email right there, and they'll open it up and they'll see, okay, here's a summary of my day, and hopefully it keeps them coming back to it. We've seen a lot of good feedback and also a lot of good usage of the email so far in our beta. So we're hoping that continues as we go to GA.
And then can that be managed using just normal notification settings?
Exactly. Yeah, they're exactly like a notification. So if you look at the email here, you can see like, do you want to stop receiving these emails? You can click turn off, and it just takes you to the normal notification screen in HubSpot that lets you turn on and off different emails. So once you turn it off, it'll be off, and then you can just go back and turn it on again.
Kieran asks if it can be delivered over Slack or other apps, or if it's only email at this point.
That's a good question. We've looked into that. Right now is just email. We're still trying to understand like what other things might be helpful. And right now, email is the one that we're experimenting the most with. And once we feel confident that, hey, people really want more meetings or more tasks or more whatever it might be, we'll figure out how to feed that same stuff into different channels. What we understand that people work in a lot of different places. So we're just trying to figure out one place first, and then we can figure out where else we can deliver the same information. All right, I will show one more thing, which is something that we're doing for new users, and it's slowly being rolled out. So you may not see it or you may not experience it yet, but we are rolling out a new onboarding experience for sales reps. So today, if you invite a new user to the Sales Workspace or to your portal, they'll just land on the summary page, and you'll just see all these different things that may be filled out or different guided actions that ask you to do things. But what we heard a lot from our users was that it wasn't really helping someone get started, or wasn't giving them that push and that nudge to get them activated and really using the Sales Workspace on their own. And so what we're doing now is that we're building out a more curated onboarding experience. And so if you are inviting a new rep to your portal, or if it's a completely new portal, they will be taken to the onboarding tab. So when they get to the Sales Workspace, they see the onboarding tab. And then we built out this really curated experience around just setting things up. So connecting your email, connecting your calendar, installing your sales extension, and you'll be able to go through it and really just take it step by step, hopefully as part of just the ramping up journey and process. We hope that this is going to be part of your ability to help your sales reps ramp up as well. The good news is that if they are, maybe some of this is not relevant, like maybe they don't want to install a sales extension, they can click skip. And even right here, they'll see the progress bar. And if they get to a point where they want to skip everything, this progress bar will disappear, and they can continue just working on the Sales Workspace like you normally would. So this is something that we're rolling out pretty kind of intentionally slow. We just want to give it to a select group of people, understand what their feedback is, and then slowly roll it out more. But you should see this in the sales reps experience within the next few months more broadly. But right now, I'm just showing you like what it might look like for new sales reps.
Classic admin question here from Jay. Will they be able to customize the onboarding steps as an admin for their reps?
I already know that's the question that we need to answer. I will say right now, not yet. I think we're just focused on making sure the base experience is good for our sales reps, and it makes sense how we set it up and how it interacts with the Sales Workspace. But we do know that, like, to make it make sense for your business or what you're working in, you want to add maybe different onboarding steps, or even like onboarding for different products of Sales Hub or different products of HubSpot. So that's something that we're looking at and considering. It's just not currently part of this feature set that we're rolling out.
Cool.
That's it for me. I'm open to feedback, but I also don't know how much time we have left, Kyle.
We have 12 minutes and we have 61 questions in the Q&A. So I'm feeling pretty optimistic. I think we will go ahead and hop over into the Q&A now, folks. If you all want to take a quick skim of that list of questions and upvote the ones you like best, we will work most upvoted to least upvoted until we run out of time. Because, I don't think that the 10 seconds per question attempt, we'll see if I can even read them that quickly. Give it a few more seconds. Wait for it. Thanks for that, Jeremy. Okay, let's hop in. I will sort these and we'll go up to the top. Chris Grant with 20 upvotes. Please, can we have a Kanban board style view for leads too? This is a hot question.
I will take that on. I will tell you it's in the works.
Okay.
I have seen it. It's there. It's coming. I just can't give you a timeline right now because the PM is not on this call, but I will tell you it is being built. So
yeah, that is, I think, the #1 piece of feedback I get on the Sales Workspace ever since we introduced leads. It's pipeline, but not a Kanban. Cool. Glad that's coming. Joshua, back again, says, what we, or me or my clients, want is the ability to configure the workspace so that it understands their/our process, not just the data outputs it seems to use now. Is that a possible future? Got 18 upvotes. This was asked at 11:01 my time, like 1 minute into this meeting. Joshua, right out the gate. Yeah,
I'm hoping that'll be possible. I don't think any of us have active plans to share, but y'all correct me if I'm wrong. But at least on the meeting side, like we're very interested in learning more about like helping people in their current flow, while also trying to show like an opinionated view of what could be a helpful experience. So I don't know if any other PMs have anything to add around their areas, but that's my thought.
Cool. We'll just keep plowing forward since we've got a lot of questions. Richie asks, not sure if this has ever been disclosed, but super curious if you could share why the leads object feels completely different than almost all other native objects. It often feels like I've got one hand tied behind my back when trying to manipulate leads, i.e. no lists, UI of the table view, limited associations, association cards, single pipeline, etc. You can have multiple pipelines and leads now. That changed. But yeah, are any of you like deeply involved with leads specifically? Seems like we're going to get a lot of leads questions. And okay, I'm just going to say now, I'm skipping over leads stuff. And maybe I need to get someone specifically on leads to have a session just on that sometime in the future. Kate wants to be able to bulk delete leads. Let's see. Paul says, as an admin, I would love to be able to push notifications to the summary page of the Sales Workspace, e.g., via the workflow actions akin to in-app notification and send an internal email. I want push to Sales Workspace to be an option because the in-app notifications are too easy to ignore and the email notifications arrive in an already crowded inbox. That's really interesting. So if you could have a workflow that like added some sort of note to the guided actions or something else. Mostly a feature request. We can keep moving. Yeah, Valentina calls out a limitation where you can't associate a deal with a lead in a workflow. Jay says the Sales Workspace reply to emails UI is underutilized because it's clunky and shows emails already replied to elsewhere. Reps want to manage all inbound emails, drafts, and compose new ones directly in HubSpot, avoiding Outlook and Google entirely. Are there plans to expand this UI into a full personal email inbox within the Sales Workspace? I will say this actually comes up a lot in the admin's hug. People want a full inbox in the sales workspace. 10 people upvoted this, but I have heard it before. Is this something any of you are thinking about?
I'll answer just because I think this kind of fits in between everything. We've also heard this feedback. I will say transparently, not a current plan. I think the other team that's sort of working similar space is Ryan's team, but it's not, his team is not going to focus on building out his full inbox. I think we're just still trying to figure out how to make the reply to emails experience a lot better and a lot less redundant. But yeah, we hear the feedback. It's just not something that we have plans for yet.
Okay. Yeah, appreciate the transparency. Jose wants custom views for leads. Peter says, do you have a timeline to fix the last activity date issue? When activity is logged on a contact, it is not shown on a lead and is as is according to support. I guess that's more leads feedback. I don't know if that's a known issue. Valentina wants to be able to move leads backwards. Let's see. Connor wants to be able to adjust and customize guided actions. We covered that earlier. Lots of leads feedback. Okay, when I export out these Q&As, I'm going to loop in whoever works on leads because there's a lot in here. I can tell that is the thing you were all hoping we would talk about that we didn't get to. We manage a lot of sales processes through custom exception reports that we put on a dashboard. We use this to help identify which accounts need work, what work needs to be done, and how to prioritize work. I haven't found a way to do this with the standard Sales Workspace functionality. I'd be happy to get feedback on what I should do differently. And I'd also be happy to show you what I'm doing in case it's something that can be incorporated into the Sales Workspace. I don't know if that's a thing.
I'll drop my email, Andrew, and then
okay.
we can talk about it after because I'm just curious what this is about and how we can help.
Nice. So Valentina asked, do we need to be a super admin to access this tab, or a partner admin access can work? I'm not sure which tab we were talking about at 17 past the hour, but I did see some questions in the chat about seats versus admins and access to stuff. I know in general, PMs are not the ones to make pricing and packaging decisions, but has there been any thought about admin access outside of a seat for the Sales Workspace, or do you expect seated access to always be required?
I'll take this one again. We do have a team that's thinking about that. So they're talking a lot to admins, and they're talking a lot about like what it takes to help admins be more successful. And that includes what does it mean with it? They don't need a seat. There's no plans yet, but I know that they're actively thinking about that.
Cool. Okay, we've got a couple of meetings things, Melissa. I'm mostly just going to fire these at you because they are...
I'm ready.
They're feature requests. Can HubSpot please align the nomenclature for meetings? Specifically, the quick action button says schedule a meeting, but the activities action button says create a meeting. Apparently there's an ideas forum idea about that.
I will take a look.
And then John says, when will we be able to create meeting-based workflows?
It's coming, and I'm so excited. I don't have a timeline that I can share, but I will say in 2 weeks, I should hopefully be able to see something that I can start testing with. So very excited for that. I might recruit some of y'all to help me do some very, very, very thorough testing before we open up a wider beta, because I have a feeling that you can do a lot more in workflows than what I am currently familiar with.
Great. We have just a couple minutes left here. Thank you all for being here. I think all of you have already put your email addresses in the chat. Is that the best way for anyone here to reach out to you if they want to follow up, if they have additional questions or thoughts for you? Great. Michelle says pick me for meeting-based workflows. So there you go. I will be exporting out the chat and Q&A, sharing it with these fine folks and someone who works on leads. That's my promise to everyone here. Isaac, Melissa, Sasha, Ryan, thank you so much for being here. All 145 of you in the audience who are still hanging with us, thanks very much for being here. Deanna, thanks for being here. You're great. And we will call it a day here. I'm gonna shut this down. Look for the recording to be sent out sometime within the next week, and hope to see you all back next Tuesday. Have a great day.
Bye, everybody.